it's time for Measure Twice.
Hello, welcome to Measure Twice. I'm Rob Perugini, along with Chris Kramer from C. Kramer Interiors and Joel Graber from Graber Customer Modeling. This is the show that helps you envision your home's potential, and you're listening to us on Michiana's News Talk 95.3 MNC. And we're brought to you in part by Leatherman Supply, everything windows, doors, cabinets, and countertops. With the showroom now open in Granger, right next to C. Kramer Interiors and Hoosier Hardwood Floors, Michiana's trusted and valued experts on hardwood floors. You can visit them at HoosierHardwoodFloors.com. Well, off air, we were just talking about television shows that Chris stopped watching and then started watching again.
Finished it.
Because he was told to. No.
Yeah.
Yes.
Actually, he was.
Yeah, he was.
I was.
He was ordered to.
No, it wasn't ordered. It was just a recommendation. Finish it.
And, that's the show, what, Baby Reindeer? Is
Yes.
that the show you're talking about?
Yeah.
It's a recommend from Chris.
It's bizarre.
It's a bizarre recommend.
Yes, it's a bizarre recommend. I'm just thinking of the audience out there listening going, oh, yeah. Oh.
Nothing about home improvement. Nothing about how to make your home better. Nothing about that in that show at all whatsoever.
No.
But we're going to...
You'll want to upgrade your security.
It's a show about a stalker. So if that's the gist. We don't want to do any spoilers, though.
Yeah, that's it.
Let's see. Today's show is kind of interesting because Chris really brought the topic today.
Yeah, I did. I did.
So what happened?
I've been thinking about it all week.
Let's start at the beginning. Why the topic? And
Why the topic?
I'll let Chris introduce the topic.
Yeah, because I figured Joel would be able to enlighten us a lot on this subject.
For sure.
Because I'm trying to do some projects around the house, and I'm lacking in tools. So, yes. So I thought, well, I need to go and get a table saw. And I needed an oscillating saw. And so, which I didn't know that's what it was called until I had to ask the person at the box store what I needed. So they just take you to the aisle and say, there you go. So I'm looking at it going, okay, wait a minute. This saw is $25. This saw is $89. This saw is $109. Which one do I need? Which is going to be capable of doing the task with some longevity? I figured $25 not going to get very much.
No, that sounds like a one use.
Yeah, and so
it's a Bic shaver.
And it was this, yeah. And so it was the same thing with the table saw. I thought a table saw was a table saw. Oh no, there's like six of them.
They all kind of do little secret different things that you don't know what you need. Well, they do the main same thing,
right? But then there's all this. You're trying to read the box, and it's like,
yeah. I'm on the Korean side of the box.
I'm usually on this. Yeah, I'm usually on the wrong side. But anyway, so I'm like, wait a minute. How do you know what you need?
So
how do you know what is the best tool at the best price for the project you're working on?
Well, I think you want to talk about a universal problem for homeowners, not Joel so much probably because you're
he knows.
In it.
I mean,
he knows.
He has his tools. I mean, because he relies on those. I mean, those are his instruments.
So it all started with a trip to the box store and like, oh my goodness.
No, it all started with projects.
It all started exactly.
Oh yeah, you're right.
I mean, it was a small project. I'm thinking I can handle this, and I did. I did it, and it looks good. So anyway, I'm happy about that.
Nice.
But it's like, this is really. I went to the box store. First of all, if trying to find somebody to ask a question, and then you're hoping that they know what they actually know. So it was just like, how do you know what to get? What should you look for your projects? Is this,
Mike, I have a really deeper question.
What's that?
Where do the box store employees go? I know people work there.
I know, right? I mean, I was literally...
And there's stuff everywhere. It had to get there. Where do they go?
It's like you're standing there looking at something, and they walk by and go hi, and then they just keep right on going, and they're gone.
Then they blend in. And then they're just gone. They're all like Predator. You can't see them.
Those vests are camouflage.
Yeah, the vests actually, when you see them out in the open, they look like a shelf with stuff on them.
I get asked for help when I'm in there.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Can you tell me where? I'm sorry. I don't.
Chris, do you give them help or do you just make something up? You're like, well, You're gonna have to use one of
Oh, I
these.
never thought about doing that. That would be kind of interesting. but no, I was in there. I was buying lumber, and can I ask you where I can find? You can ask, but I can't tell you. I don't know what aisle it's in.
All right.
I barely have enough. I have a hard enough time finding what I need anyway.
So the projects that you were doing, do you want to share the project and start from there? Because I think that's what Joel's trying to get at.
I've replaced fascia and soffit boards.
Oh, Chris
So-
on the ladder again.
Yeah, it's
I'm on
still
the
set
ladder.
up.
It is. How do you know?
Because I've been going by
That's your
house.
ladder, by the way.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I wonder what that thing
I'll cut you red-handed. Or he confessed.
He
I don't
left
know.
it a year ago. It's been coming in really handy.
And all those texts telling you to come pick it up.
Wait, isn't it after
Yeah,
like,
wink,
Yeah,
wink.
right.
after so many years? It's just your property,
like-
right?
Yeah, it's like, well, I'll tell him when I'm
Possession's
done with it.
Possession's 9/10 of the law.
Right.
So I guess the long and the short of it is, have me at your job. I'll probably leave tools. Those are the best ones.
And that ladder is really nice because it's taller than the one I have, and it's like, yeah, that's maybe I will tell him.
That's funny. Quick story.
The funny thing is, he's noticed it because he's working down the road.
Yeah.
So you may not know this, but you're listening to Measure Twice, and we're talking about tools
Well, a ladder is a tool.
and how to obtain them without buying them.
That's right.
That's funny.
What was your quick story, Joe?
Well, it just made me think of it when you said something to Chris about like giving people advice at the box store. Because I'll run in there to pick up like wood glue or certain caulks and things like that, like screws, whatever. Like if,
When you need them in a pinch.
yeah, I like when I get lumber and stuff like that, I like to get it from my lumber yard
Mm-hmm.
because I'm typically, pricing is maybe a little bit different, but typically can get it delivered. And I'd rather just work with people that know what they're doing. But I normally, like, nobody asks me things, but there was one time not too long ago I gave somebody advice because I overheard them talking with an employee in the
box store.
in the box store, and they were telling them what to do, and it was like, that is so wrong. It was just point them in the right direction to get whatever they need. Don't tell them how to do it. It was just terrible.
Yeah.
So I kind of milled around and then found them after they were done, and I was like, listen, you don't want to do that at all. That is not okay. You will have trouble. I just couldn't believe it.
You're like, you came in for a half of a 2x4 and
Yeah.
just wanted to get out, but that was good on you, man. Because what'll happen is they'll go home and then the curse words will start flying.
Oh, yeah.
Is really
Probably anyway, but like at least you have something that you can go off of that's going to be helpful.
And again, we're not like as a show that talks about like basically making your home, more. We're not against DIY. I don't want
No, not
anybody
at
to
all.
get that impression because it's kind of fun to try, and it's the house is all yours. So
Well, you feel good about it. Like Chris, you did that.
I feel good about it.
Yeah.
It's like,
And
man,
when
I
you're done,
accomplished
you're like,
this.
that you can step away from that and feel like I accomplished something.
And, it was only a 3-foot piece. So it wasn't like major. You didn't have to, and part of the learning was deconstructing to see how
Right.
it was constructed.
right, the template, like to have a template,
Yeah.
right, is kind of a it's like it's a helpful. I don't know how else to put it.
Yeah.
But it was still a little frustrating trying to make sure you had the right tools to do the job properly.
Right. When you identify a job, right, Joel, because we probably don't have enough time to at this segment to go into that. We're talking about tools for the job. You started with the project. It's innate with you what you're going to need because you've done many, many, many projects, right? Like there's few that are brand new, like never been done.
Yeah. You have a basic idea.
You inventory that like you would inventory your materials, like the tools you'll need.
Yeah, typically, because I know what I have on my truck. And so if I'm walking into something that I know, like, I'm going to need something that's not typically on my truck, I better make sure that and when I'm going to need it.
So a quick inventory
Yeah,
of like
have
what
an
you're
idea
going
of
to
like,
need.
okay, this is what I'm going to need on the project, and when I'll need it, because I don't want everything there at once. It just clutters stuff up. It makes people feel like they're crammed
Yeah.
and their house is getting taken over. But
Right. So I guess the first things first is like know the project, what you're doing. And then just like it sounds like, just like knowing what materials you're going to need to do it, you should also get a kind of an idea of the tools that you'll need.
yeah,
And my mindset in this is not just a one project. I want these tools because there are other things I need to fix as well down
Right.
the road. So I don't want to get something.
So your quality is like got to be moderate to excellent, right?
Yes,
Moderate
yes,
to
because this is something long term.
Right.
yeah.
This house is always going to need something, so I
you
need
may
the
as well
right.
have it,
I may
right.
as well have it.
All right. When we come back, we can dive into like, all right, let's get into the tools of the
Yeah.
tools. This is Measure Twice. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Measure Twice. I'm Rob Perugini, along with Joel Graber from Graber Customer Modeling and Chris Kramer from C. Kramer Interiors. This is the show that helps you envision your home's potential. And you're listening to us on Michiana's News Talk 95.3 MNC. We're brought to you in part by Leatherman Supply. Everything countertops, windows. What am I leaving out? Countertops, windows,
Cabinetry and doors.
cabinetry, and more. Located right next to C. Kramer Interiors in Granger. And we're also brought to you by Hoosier Hardwood Floors, Michiana's trusted and valued experts on hardwood floors. You can visit them at HoosierHardwoodFloors.com. We're talking about tools because Chris got stymied at the box store,
Yeah,
right? And
not the first time.
not the first time because you're alone at a box.
Yeah,
You're
every
surrounded
time,
by
you're
people.
surrounded by everything, and you know nothing
You're right. So
or very little.
where we got to though is like Joel mentioned, you have to know the project that you're doing, right? What are you doing? And then just like you would list out your materials, you got to list out your tools. Like what are you going to need? Because I would imagine there's nothing worse than being surprised. How come I can't do this thing? And it's because there's a tool that you don't have,
Or you bought the wrong one.
or you bought
Yeah.
the wrong tool.
Well, honestly, like Chris had it figured out. It sounds like you, like as far as with the oscillating tool, the table saw, chop saw.
Chris was doing soffitting, by the way. He was replacing pieces of fascia and soffit.
Yeah.
Joel, do you want to explain to the audience what he was replacing, just so we're all everybody?
Fascia board is the vertical board at the end of your roof. That typically your gutter is going to go up against.
Gotcha.
Soffit runs underneath that horizontally to the wall, covers up the underside of your roof, for the overhang.
Gotcha. So we just wanted to catch everybody
Yeah.
up, just so when we're talking about it, we're not like, oh, what's fascia board?
And Chris's is an old house, so his is actually wood.
Yes.
What's it made out of now?
A lot of times it's either aluminum or vinyl. It's pieces that it's usually 12 inches wide. You get them in 12-foot sections. You cut them to the length that you need and put them in pieces.
For soffit?
For soffit,
Yeah.
your fascia is a fascia board. It's typically still a board, and then you're wrapping that with a aluminum fascia most of the time. Certain projects you'll use other material, like
Right.
we've talked about Smart Side and things like
Right.
that, wood.
But generally, your soffit is some other material than wood. But if you have a vintage home, like
Yeah.
it's generally wood.
Mine's wood.
And you
Yeah.
have to replace it because
Yes,
it's
with wood.
It's
I mean, that's what
outside.
I've been doing down from his house, replacing old wood and fixing it.
Right.
And that's why I was saying I have more to do, a lot more to do, and I needed to buy good tools that will carry me through this, and then last after this, because I know down the road something else is
Yeah,
gonna
right.
happen.
There's more
Yeah.
soffit.
And there's more.
Right.
My siding is all wood, so there's always something that
Right.
needs to be replaced.
And
So
so to speak, part of the fun of owning a whole old home is
Oh,
being
yes, a
able to
lot
do
of
it.
to laugh a minute.
And just a reminder, the exterior of your house, no matter what we're talking about, works 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Yep.
It's never not working.
Nope.
Yep.
It's true. Always true.
That replacement of those things is very normal, common stuff. Okay. So you're doing that, and how did you know you needed an oscillating saw?
I ask. Well, first of all,
What are you using it for?
Probably cutting his fascia board
yes,
straight.
it's a straight cut. It cuts straight.
So let's do the Joel expert description of an oscillating saw.
It has a blade on the end that oscillates back and forth.
A sawing motion, if you will.
Quickly.
Yeah.
It's not it oscillates.
Is it a handheld?
It is handheld. It oscillates basically this perpendicular to the way you hold it, not with it like what we would call a sawzall or a reciprocating saw. And you can plunge cut with it and make vertical and horizontal.
And plunge cut means you can go straight down into a board and cut through it.
And one of the reasons I knew that's what I needed, I YouTubed how to siding, how to cut wood siding, and that was all that they used. But just to verify that, I went and asked at the box store, this is what I'm doing. What do I need?
So in an oscillating saw, you can also change the blades out for different purposes.
Yeah, there's different purposes.
You can cut nails, like if you're cutting out a window, right? You can take an oscillating saw.
You can cut nail. They have the different various blades. You can scrape. I've had to scrape with mine before, even at my house, which was a nightmare, but it made the job better.
Right. And so not only do you need to know the saw in this case, you probably need to know the blades that you should have.
I mean, you can get, I was actually, because of what I've been doing up 2 stories, I've used mine for sanding. Because you can put a sanding pad on it.
Yeah, mine came with a sanding pad. And one thing I would add to that, make sure you get safety glasses.
Oh, absolutely.
Because that sawdust goes everywhere.
Yeah.
And in my experience, maybe because I have inexpensive ones, maybe, I'm not sure, but they're loud when you're indoors, man. Mine
Safety glasses?
Yeah. I just had the loudest.
You must have got the really loud one, because they really aren't that bad.
Yeah, mine was super loud.
So if someone is
Probably
looking...
a cheap one, though.
Well, but if someone's looking for an oscillating saw, and they go to the store and they see one for $24 and one for $109, which one should... What are you looking for?
Well, so... And we've talked about this before. At box stores, even if you're getting the name brand, it's probably there's some parts in it that are made specifically for that. It's made to sell cheaper than what I would buy it.
But is there a difference in how it performs?
Yes, there is. There is. You're looking for, like in an oscillating tool, you're looking for how fast it oscillates. Your speed. Can you adjust the speed? Because there's certain things that you don't want to go as fast on, because it will burn up your blades. So you're looking for that. I would recommend, I do recommend something that's a little more, that's probably a name brand, because chances are the more you use it, the more likely it's going to wear out. And if it is a name brand, you can have it repaired, and it's much cheaper than buying a new one. And the repair is actually going to end up lasting much longer than what you got it, than what you've used it from when you bought it.
Right.
So are you saying you shouldn't buy one from a box store, or you should get a name brand?
No, that's fine. I think I just recommend like a Bosch, Milwaukee, DeWalt.
Can you use dollars and cents to determine that?
Not always. Yeah. So because even like within your name brands, they're going to have different levels.
What about weight? Is it heavier?
Sometimes maybe heavier will indicate that it's built better.
Right. Beefier.
Right. That it will hold up, because the fact of the matter is you're going to be hard on them.
Yeah. Right. Especially an oscillating saw. So I guess the question I would ask would be, is it let me just tell the audience, we're talking about oscillating saws because Chris went to the box store to buy certain tools. This was one of them, and it was like, which one do I get? I know it's the tool I need. Which one do I get? Question would be, also, how long are you going to use it? Not in years, right? Not how long you're going to keep the tool, but also you have to take into consideration if you're going to be using this a lot, and like for your project, it's going to get a heavy workout,
serious workout. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like say you're getting an oscillating tool, you're going to be cutting and then sanding with it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's going to be running for a healthy period of time.
Yeah, like 6, 7. Like you might get 6 hours of this thing just operating. That's something to think about too, because I
didn't think about that part.
Well, but
Totally.
in your project, to your defense, your project did not probably call for that anyway. But if you were putting down like a floor, or trying to replace some floor, the oscillating tool is cool to have because you can cut out stuff.
Oh, yeah, you use that a lot.
And you're just like constantly using it.
But I'll be using it to replace siding that needs on the garage that needs to be replaced,
Right.
Siding on the side of the house that needs to be replaced. So this is not just a one-time soffit repair.
My point is that if you're doing projects that are like you're going to use this thing for 15, 20 minutes, you that a cheaper saw, well, okay, you might get away with it. It might last you a long time because you're never using it more than 15 minutes at a time.
Right.
Yeah.
If your projects are kind of intense, you might wear your saw out and halfway through your first use because you've used it its entire, what its expected life was in one time. That's where I was going with that.
Yeah.
Ask me how I know. Because I had to look up the oscillating saw because I was like, am I thinking of the right saw? Yeah, I fused it.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It became,
you burned up the brushes?
Yeah, it became one brush or one bristle. And that's where my father-in-law was like, hey, look, if you were going to use that 10 minutes at a time, that probably lasts you 10 years. But you're using it for 3 hours. It's not designed to do that.
Yeah.
This one, you got to find one, you got to get one like a Bosch or Milwaukee or, insert.
Yeah, I know
commercials.
typically like with stuff like that, well, for me, I'm using things hard anyway.
Well, yeah, because you're using it,
but
it's your job.
So it's different. Like, because my son...
We got to go. We're running over. So let's get into the professional versus non-professional.
That was just where I was getting ready to go.
This is Measure Twice. Welcome back to Measure Twice. I'm Rob Perugini, along with Chris Kramer from C. Kramer Interiors and Joel Graber from Graber Customer Modeling. This is the show that helps you envision your home's potential, and you're listening to us on Machinist News Talk 95.3 MNC. We're brought to you in part by Leatherman Supply, everything windows, doors, cabinets, and countertops, with the showroom now open in Granger, right next to C. Kramer Interiors. And Hoosier Hardwood Floors, Michiana's trusted and valued experts on hardwood floors. You can visit them at HoosierHardwoodFloors.com. I bet they've got an oscillating saw or two laying around.
Some of the few experts that I actually trust.
Yes.
No kidding.
So we're talking about tools, and you might find yourself trying to pick out a tool, and it's like, what? You get your list of tools from the internet that are, they're probably 90% accurate if you're looking there. You might leave one or two off, and you learn you need it the hard way. But then once you know what tools, it's like, which one of these tools is the one that I should get based on quality and size? Some it's even size. Do I need a plug-in? Do I need an electric one? Like, do I need to have one that takes a battery? Is it good enough just to use a cord? There's all kinds of things that go into this.
Yeah, because when I was looking at the oscillating saw, they had a battery operated one, but I wasn't sure if it would be strong enough, powerful enough.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So I didn't opt for that one. I bought a cord.
Well, that's a good thought, because typically your corded stuff is going to have more power than the battery.
And you need an electrical engineer to figure out the battery metrics, because just like lighting, they all kind of do their own, like, this one has the Power Max 480, blah, 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 that. And unless you know what the ohms and amps and all that stuff mean, because really that's all you really need to know.
Right.
Although the new lithium style, I don't know what they're made of, but
lithium.
Whatever the new battery is, I really do like the fact that you have 100% power and then it just shuts off.
Yep.
and you can't use it anymore.
Pretty much.
Which means that there's probably some juice in there. It just doesn't let it work with subpar juice,
Yeah.
Right.
which is, I think, kind of a big deal. But
It is.
the fun fact, if you break your arm or leg, they're using an oscillating saw to cut your cast off, by the way.
That's
Huh?
true.
Like a regular old, like it was a Milwaukee. It wasn't like a surgical company. Dude came out with a Milwaukee oscillating saw, and I was like, you taking the whole arm now? I mean, I thought it was healed, you know. But they have this special blade on it, will not cut skin. Will not cut skin. But it will cut the cast.
Yeah.
Which is bizarre. And I was like, how do you know you're going to get close? She's like, and then the lady just like puts it on her own arm, like, see, won't cut skin. I was like, okay, good. But that was an oscillating saw, and they know that they're using it a lot because they bought
Old Milwaukee's a good brand.
Yeah.
Old Milwaukee.
Is that what it is?
They weren't
Old
drinking.
Milwaukee's the beer.
They weren't drinking. They weren't drinking, Chris. At least not that I know of.
Yeah.
She might have been drunk as a
See,
skunk.
that's how well I know
have no idea.
tools. See?
I'm fucking Old Milwaukee oscillating saw there. And the bartender's like, we don't serve tools here. Get out. So anyway, hi-oh, you didn't even catch the joke, did you?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you did and it wasn't fun.
We just kind of moved on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we're talking about tools, and where were we? We were going to talk
We're
about
gonna
professional.
Professional tools versus box store tools.
Right. What's the difference, Joel?
The insides of them.
The insides?
Yeah.
But is there a main... I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you can repair the tools that you have.
Yeah.
They're not components.
You can have box store tools repaired too. That's why, like, if I was in a box store, I probably wouldn't buy like their brand
Because
or
it's a
whatever.
component. They're
Right.
not designed to be repaired, is what I
Not
mean.
necessarily.
Yeah.
Well, and it's like mine was $24.95. I'm not going to repair that.
Yeah.
I'm just going to throw it away and get another one,
Right. Right.
which is the mindset of probably most people, and that's the mindset.
Yeah.
I think that's why they price them the way they do.
Yeah.
right.
But I could see where Joe would get his tools elsewhere because
Yeah.
they're built to withstand
Yeah.
the amount of work he needs it to
Right.
do
The beating.
Per job.
per
Yeah.
job.
Per job. That's
Daily.
what I was getting at before.
Daily.
Per job. Like this thing, those tools show up to work, and they're designed to work as long as you're going to be at work.
Yeah.
And,
Well, fun
and go.
fact, so DeWalt, one of the main places that they test their tools is in our area because we are heavy RV manufacturing, and so they'll test tools. They'll give new generation tools to RV companies to test them because they know they're going to get the crap beat out of them.
Right. Thrown down, dropped.
Yeah.
I never think about that part of it too, because if you're up 2 stories and
Yeah.
accidents happen
Oh,
Right.
all
Yeah.
the time.
Oh yeah.
Oops. Boom.
Yep.
Right.
Hopefully, it's just the tool.
Yeah.
And honestly, if we're talking about oscillating saws again for a second, the first oscillating saw I bought, the reason why I bought a mid-range one after that is because I dropped it on the nose,
Oh no.
and that was it.
Yep.
It still worked, but
Had a little hitch in the
it
giddy up.
didn't want to. It was not.
No, we like
not doing
with
so
our
good.
oscillate. So our corded oscillating tools, we get Fine, which is a German company.
Oh
And
yeah,
that
I've
is,
heard of them.
Like you can't get a better oscillating tool than that. You pay for it, and the blades are not cheap, but
I bet it's
it
smooth.
is unbelievable the difference. Because we use DeWalt product typically for our job site products. So my cordless tools are DeWalt. It's on all of our trucks.
Commercial version though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's people want to fight about whatever. It's like, you know what? This is what we've got. We like them. They work for us. Use whatever you want. I don't care.
Right.
I mean, no pun intended, but those are tools of your trade. I mean,
Yeah.
those are things that
Yeah.
you rely on daily
right.
to perform your
Yeah.
task.
Yeah. But like the difference between my cordless oscillating tool and my fine corded one, we've like in a pinch, we've picked up like a box store oscillating tool, and it is like night and day the difference between what I have and what we've picked up, because you're like, why is this taking so long?
Yeah.
It just is amazing.
The
amazing, the engineering difference.
We can go down a rabbit hole with the blades too, because
Oh,
then when they get hot, they stop working.
Yeah.
They don't
Yeah.
cut anymore. It's kind of like, it's wild.
Well, that and some of our saws are Festool stuff. We have Festool sanders. Those are also German. They're very expensive, but for what we do, it makes sense to have them.
But I guess my thought is, I mean, you need that level.
Right.
The homeowner doesn't
No.
necessarily need
Right.
that level.
Well, so my oldest son, Julius, he'll ask me, like, what do I need? What is this going to work? And for him, it's a unique situation anyway, because like he just needs kind of entry level, just stuff to tool around with at home. Like I'm hanging pictures, I'm doing some small projects on my own, but he's also got a dad, an uncle, a grandfather, a brother who all are in the trade. And so when he's doing bigger projects, he's got the tools available in the house.
Right.
So
Yeah.
for him, it's a unique situation. I'm not like, hey, let's go figure it out for you.
Right.
Like
he doesn't need YouTube. He's got Graber Tube.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
So, but he also is really busy with his work. So it's not like he's doing a bunch anyway.
Right.
So for him, an entry level drill and driver are going to be good enough.
Right. He's not going to wear them out as
Right.
fast. And when they wear out,
Whereas like for what Chris is doing, because he's got plans to do more, he needs more than just entry level. But
right.
he doesn't necessarily need to go out and spend $400, $500 on a sander or more, depending on what you're getting. He needs to get something that's going to last for him as he's doing what he's doing.
Right. And it's almost like you start at the middle and go halfway.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I
Yeah.
did on some of it. I went
Yeah.
mid-range because I figured that's a safe place to be
Yeah.
to
Right.
start with.
And we're talking about tools and the kind of the difference between professional tools now and what you probably need at home for the projects based on the projects you're going to do going forward. If it's a one and done project and you need to get a tool to complete your project, yeah, entry level is probably fine. If you know, like in Chris's case, that more soffitting is going to be replaced someday, you don't want to get the entry level tool because you don't know the moment it's going to let you down because it's not designed for longevity. You can see it in the price. It's $25 oscillating tool
Right.
compared to a $125 oscillating tool. There's a difference, right? And it's generally longevity and probably power, and then there's some innovation too. I noticed on oscillating tools though. When I got the better one, I was like, oh, this blade goes in a lot easier than that one.
Yeah.
Like,
And it stays.
and it stays.
It doesn't fall off
That was
halfway
the other
through.
thing. I would start that oscillating tool, and the nut would be like,
Yep.
"Pew!"
Yeah.
Well, they're going away from the nut anyway now.
I know. Now it's like a clamp.
clicks.
And
Mine still uses the Allen. You have to have the Allen wrench. And
yeah,
tighten.
you don't need that
You don't
anymore.
want that because most of them are going away from that.
Well,
Like in a couple of years, you won't even be able to get those blades.
Chris,
Except
my
for that
advice.
reason.
Yeah.
I'm
My
assuming.
advice: just drop it nose down, and you'll have to get the next one.
It's $24. So
That's
what's
what I
the?
Yeah.
Not designed to go nose first into cement. Not
Yeah.
designed. That's not.
Maybe
meant
it's
to
not
do.
even designed to cut. I don't know, but
But oscillating tool, super
it
convenient.
did
tool.
do the job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. That's if I were to say like, I think every garage should have an oscillator.
Oh, for sure. You know what's
It's one
funny
of
is like
those.
I was just talking about this with my uncle who has also been doing this for 25, 30 years. And he's like, can you remember when we didn't have these oscillating tools? And I was like, I remember like the first time I ever saw one, it was on an infomercial. I'm like, that's stupid. That's never going to catch on. It's
No,
genius.
It's genius. And when we come back, we're going to talk about the table saw, which is another complicated, which shouldn't be, but it is. When we come back, this is Measure Twice. Welcome back to Measure Twice. I'm Rob Perugini, along with Joel Graber from Graber Customer Modeling and Chris Kramer from C. Kramer Interiors. This is the show that helps you envision your home's potential. And you're listening to us on Michiana's News Talk 95.3 MNC. We're brought to you in part by Leatherman Supply. Everything windows, doors, cabinets, and countertops with the showroom now open in Granger, right next to C. Kramer Interiors. Thank you very much. And Hoosier Hardwood Floors, Michiana's trusted and valued experts on hardwood floors. You can visit them at HoosierHardwoodFloors.com. Talking about tools, and I'm not talking about the ones in the studio. You know what I mean? We're talking
I was
about.
waiting for that.
I was waiting for Chris to say. Frankly, that was. But you know what?
I didn't want to insult anybody.
That's not true,
I'm not
Chris.
Don Rickles.
That's not true. So we're talking about like tools. Chris had a project, and he went to the box store and was like, "I know what tools now." There's like, 9 choices, and which one's for me? And we talked about the difference between pro tools and home use tools. And I mean, it is exactly what you think, right? Commercial tools are more expensive, but they're designed to run longer, to be a little bit more powerful, to handle the drops and the commercial things that happen when you're on a job, that the length of time that per day that you're using it.
Yeah.
Those things, they're built in, and they're usually baked into the price, right? Generally. So that's what we're talking about. But specifically now, a table saw. Who knew? Like, you don't, when you think table saw, it seems pretty simple. Blade comes through a table, has a guard, and a switch to turn it on. Push wood over table saw. No. I mean, yes, but find one that just does that. They don't. They do all kinds of other things that you need to pay attention to.
Yep.
Like, and I'm just going to get it started. Like, is this a portable table saw, or is this one that's going to stay in one place its whole life?
Yep.
Is this table saw that you could do either make it portable or put it in one place? How does this thing clamp to the thing that you're going to put it on? Does it need to clamp to the thing? I mean, right? You discovered all that, right?
It was
and
like,
I'm just the tip of the iceberg.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm like,
how does the blade go up and down? This one has a thing that you turn. This one, you do it by using notches. I mean, seriously.
Yeah, and then it's like, okay, when I put mine together, I noticed that the blade was angled. Like, why is it? That doesn't look straight.
How do I not?
How does
this go straight? Isn't it supposed to be straight?
Yeah, it's supposed to be straight. Why is it angled? Oh, here.
It angles. See what I mean? You don't discover this stuff until
you buy one.
Yeah. So from a commercial aspect, you're 100% portable.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I bought one on a stand.
On a stand.
Because that suits me.
That's never going to go off the stand.
No.
Right.
Nope.
But it's portable in a sense that you can. It's light enough you can carry it outside.
I can. Yeah, I do it. I cut outside.
Exactly. But then you can carry it back in because it's aluminum or whatever.
Yep,
and if Joel had one of those, the legs would be bent in 20 minutes because it would have gone. Not that you're not careful, but just because on a job that doesn't make sense.
Right.
Right.
I never thought about that because. So you use one that you carry around. I mean,
the stands, we have ours it has the stand, the legs fold in, it's got wheels on it, we can roll it around.
It's different.
Yeah.
They make ones without a stand that clamp to stuff.
Yes, and I would not want one of those.
But there's people that need that use because of where they do their work.
Yeah.
Right? They have to do that. I mean, what I noticed when I was looking for table saws is it seemed like the less expensive ones, everything jiggled on it. I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah.
Well,
everything rattled. Everything
that would make sense.
It was like, and it looked like it was gonna, fine. It had a blade and you could put whatever blade on it. But like the crank that turned the blade jiggled constantly. It was like, oof, everything was plastic. I felt like I could just
break it,
pull everything off of it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, regardless of the usage, I recommend one that because you want something that's going to be able to like expand far enough that you can get something at least cut at least 24 inches, maybe a little more.
That's key, right?
Because there's times where you're going to want to run sheet material through it or something. So I recommend something that you can extend out far enough that you can.
Oh, because they do have some that. Yeah. No.
Yeah. That you can put.
Right. Or at least has the ability for you to do it. Because I saw one that you could put 2x4. They were like they're not clamps. They look like a C-clamp. And I was like, what's this for? And it's because he's like, so you can extend this like 20 feet if you want it, because you can you can make something out of 2x4 to extend it and then put a horse over here and you can get something really, that's what they were designed for. And you screw them up and it tightens it up. I mean, I was like, that's ingenious.
Yeah, in my opinion, that's not worthwhile.
Probably not. I don't know.
You're better off getting like a stand that has like a roller stand or whatever.
Somebody to help you.
It's like a third hand, like you set if you're
exactly.
running something that's long over the opposite side, you can set it up there, get your material on there, and it just assists in making sure that it's not falling over. Or,
Good news, Joel. I didn't succumb to that.
Yeah.
Because it was not.
Or if it's something that's really long, the further out it gets, the harder it is to keep it
down, right?
Lifting up. So you can set that roller stand on the backside, roll it across that, it keeps it up.
So a roller stand is the next thing you need.
Probably because I have a 12-foot board to cut.
Yes.
There you go.
To rip
and
down.
those are not expensive. I mean, I get like the jaw horse ones. We like those because they fold up and they don't have the roller, because the rollers eventually will go bad.
Exactly.
It's like I don't know, some sort of Teflon or something.
It's just smooth.
Yeah, it's just
easy.
It goes over the top and it's nice. Yeah.
We're talking about table saws now because we're talking about tools, commercial versus regular, what things you should have if you're looking at a table saw. Sounds like so far on a table saw, you want it to be able to cut something at least 24 inches without assistance, without having to get something to put next to it. Right? That's basically.
Yeah.
And I know we're talking about table saws, but I bought a miter saw.
Oh.
I didn't buy the right size.
Well, there's different size miter saws?
Yes, because I'm not able to cut
12 inch.
I'm not able to cut a 5.5 inch board.
Yeah, if you're getting a miter saw, get a 12 inch. Don't waste your time with anything else.
And I didn't realize
one that will bevel.
Describe the miter saw though.
Your miter saw is a chop. What most people call a chop saw. There's a base. The saw is up and down. Up and down. Like you bring it down vertical, through the wood. Yeah, you can hold the wood vertical. It can lay horizontal, and you can cut. You want it to be able to miter both directions, and then bevel, which is like taking the blade and moving the blade different degrees also.
Mm-hmm. So like a pyramid, like an angle.
Yeah.
Right.
And I mean, if you're going to spend the money on a chop saw, I recommend a 12 inch that will miter and bevel both directions, and that slides.
You can do that.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
But that's it for the show. Now you know how to buy tools. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening. This has been Measure Twice.
Podcasts by Federated Media.